Between the two, I would want a core line.
Yeah, I agree.
I want an early blink.
Fast blink, then get into, you know, 4 staff.
Whatever whatever utility he needs. Core Abaddon in this particular game, though, what exactly are you farming towards to?
Radiant team pick.
No, I think the Abaddon is a hero that you said that Shadowfiend needs, right? He needs somebody standing behind him to support. And the Aphotic Shield is probably that's the spell. So I think because of that, I think he's going to be a support.
So in that case, where?
Mid Lion.
And then safe lane SF with Winter Wyvern. It's really hard. It's really hard to read.
You could also do like an off-lane Winter Abaddon dual lane.
Ooh.
That's not too bad, I think.
Remaining.
I have no clue because they picked up 3 essentially very hard supports in my book.
Well, let's look at Invasion. With that last pick, Gyrocopter, we can kind of say, okay, Earthshaker goes down to the bot lane. He's the off-lane Earthshaker. Lina will be the support up at top, stacking, pulling, and controlling the lane there. Maybe a homing missile build from Gyrocopter. Then Tiny Wisp towards middle lane.
Yeah,
that's the sort of more reasonable ways to look at it. So it's, you know, obviously not clear cut, but that's the way it sort of reads if you're looking from our perspective. CSW is completely unreadable from us. The fact that Winter Wyvern, Lion, Abaddon all come as the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th picks kind of throws you off the trail here.
The cool thing about Invasion support duo is that Lina, she's not going to have a lot of setup stuns in her lane, assuming she's safe lane. But if she's ganking mid or off lane, she is going to have to set up stun from Tiny and Earthshaker respectively. Alright, it's going to be a Slark. Alright, 2D is generally the support player, right?
Off lane.
Oh, so off lane core Abaddon with support Winter. Okay, seems good with me.
Then Lion Slark, yeah? Up against that Earthshaker.
Okay. Doesn't make sense. This all makes sense.
Okay.
So essentially, they have 2 ways to protect the Shadow Fiend with Abaddon Shield and Winter's whatever that spell is called.
Ooh, Wedding Crash takes the SF, and it looks like it's going to be chains on that Slark.
Mid Slark?
It looks like it could be mid Slark. Maybe run a dual lane there and have Wedding Crash on the bot lane. But yeah,
you know what? Wedding Crash could essentially solo against Earthshaker. Like what is really stopping him from doing that?
Very true. Maybe then, you know, you've got one of the supports to move into the jungle stack for you, keep things going there. Slark doesn't benefit that much from having stacked camps. It takes a lot longer for him to get Death Pact leveled up, and most of the time you don't want to go for 4 points in Death Pact. You know, 2 points, maybe push into 3, but Pounce, definitely 1 point in your Essence Shift, and then obviously go into your ultimate. But heading into the game, quick little pause here. We can have a look at the players actually picking up the heroes. 2D on the Abaddon, Wedding Crash over on that Shadowfiend, 3-4-3 Lion, and Godot on the Winter Wyvern, while Chains will take that Slark. What are we looking at over in the Dire?
Alright, Dire side, we have Lord Boons playing the Wisp. We have, I believe this is WTF on the Gyrocopter. Shatan playing the Earthshaker. Extinct on the support Lena, and Slicks on the Tiny. So, it could be Shadowfiend versus Shaker on the offlane, or it could be Slark versus Shaker on the offlane. And I think Slark gives you much more killing power against the Shaker if you want to kill that lane. But probably that's not what their important goal is. The important goal is making sure that both Slark and Shadowfiend gets decent farm.
Is there a potential here to go aggro for CSW? Into a Lina and Gyrocopter? You mentioned there's no setup stun for the Lina, so it's not like Invasion can go, you know, and push into you to try and find a kill initially. If you've got Slark, Lion, and Winter Wyvern, what do you think your chances are there against a dual lane?
I think your support duo is very weak. Level 2, or before they get to level 2, they're very weak. I feel like you need Impale and Hex to hit, because Splinter Blast early just does very little. And Arctic Burn's good for that. But apart from Arctic Burn and maybe a good Hex, you know, the more I talk about this, the more I feel like that's possible. But
and then you put Abaddon mid, potentially, against Tiny Wisp?
No, you offensive trialing with the Abaddon.
Okay.
It's really weird because I've never seen this before. I don't think so though. I think we're gonna see some form of 2-1-2.
Okay.
Or 2-2-1.
Well, we'll probably see from their item pickups where they'll be heading. We still don't know where this Wisp and Tiny will be going. But definitely top rune spot is going to be hotly contested here. CSW want to stop that Wisp from getting a very early bottle, which, you know, more likely than not he'll go for the fast bottle build. Sometimes we see the Soul Ring if they do need to get some support items up on that Wisp. but
Fast bottle building, spending 0 gold earlier on, right?
Yeah. But Extinct on this lane, you can kind of feel him. His job is going to be stacking and pulling. Occasionally, in actually Saturday stages, we've seen 4-roll Lenas jungle complete, like fully jungle. They stack camps and they get to level 6 like 6.5 minutes in, and it's ridiculously quick if you do it efficiently.
All right, looks like we got to unpause. Although, I believe one of the players in the bathroom still. So Godot is actually haven't bought anything yet. I'm not sure if that affects who's buying the wards and item and whatnot. Fly's got everything. Yeah, Godot's still in the bathroom. He has not moved out of the base.
Oh well. 2D will be that offlaner Baden. While they're moving 3 heroes down bot so far. Chains on the slot, stab shield for him, and Wedding Crash going for the bottle rush, so it will be Shadow Fiend mid. Defensive tri-lane with Winter Wyvern probably moving between bot and mid. Shaitan offlane, Earthshaker, no surprises there. Does not have an Observer Ward on him because it's already placed over by the Roche Pit.
Okay, so as expected on the Radiant side, it is going to be 2-1-2 with Winter Wyvern and Abaddon going up top. Line supporting the Slark on the bottom lane. And it looks like good old Wedding Crasher is going to just solo the mid lane. I do want to point out that he's got raises at level 1, so I think his point is to essentially spam the wave as much as he can, go for the quick bottle, and try to get the regen going that way.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to get too many runes, I think a large part of the courier is going to be dedicated to him. And honestly, when you're going up against the line wisp combo, or sorry, the tiny wisp combo, you need that.
Yeah, definitely shove the lane, the first wave at the mid lane with the Shadow Fiend, get the bottle after, you know, 3 last hits with a tick over gold as well. You can get it very early on, but they do not stop Lord Boons on this wisp getting his insta bottle.
Yep.
So they'll have that already. Slicks on the tiny in middle lane. And top, it's going to be Gyrocopter with the Lina. Early laning ward there to spot things out. Winter Wyvern is actually sitting mid. Godot behind Wedding Crash is ready to save him. The dual lane off lane, both heroes can save each other.
Yeah.
So if one hero gets gone on, it's very difficult for Invasion to actually find a pickoff.
Yeah, I think if you look at the Gyrocopter, he's probably going to just try his best to CS. Because Winter is going to have the ranger advantage when it comes to harass. And generally, Gyro zone people out with the threat of the rocket. I'm not sure it's going to be that effective here with 2 heroes in the lane though.
Well, with that bounty rune for Wedding Crash, he's got his bottle incoming already. But take a look at Extinct. Going to be looking for that courier snipe between Tier 1 and Tier 2. Does CSW see it coming? It doesn't look like they do. Extinct going to go in. One click. They juke it into the fog, and he's not going to get the second click out. Wedding Crash will get his bottle. That was close. That was close.
That's the problem with Lina though. She's got a long attack range, but a terrible attack animation. Got the attack off. I think what she needed to do is get the first attack off while she was still uphill, and then she would get the second attack off. So, unfortunate.
Boots first for Shaitan on this bottom lane. Earthshaker up against the Lion and Slark. Chains. What kind of build do you kind of expect from Slark in this kind of game? Midas seems okay against the Tiny Wisp. You do want to keep up pace in terms of farm, especially with a hero like Slark. You know, you need the tertiary item to come out after sort of Shadow Blade or BKB.
Yeah, it feels like this is just not a good Slark game in general.
The AoE splash is pretty massive from Invasion.
Yeah, not only that, hold on, because Extinct looks like he's going to get first blooded. Arctic Burn.
That skill.
Plus just simple right click.
Well,
Frostmourne.
Curse of the Avernus.
Okay,
that's
it's
slow.
not called Frostmourne because that's
that was the Dota 1.
Copyrighted it.
Oh, Lumi. Gonna get the stream banned from copyright material. Blizzard, please. No, of course not. My sarcasm's too strong. My sarcasm game.
No, I knew you were being sarcastic, but I'm casting this game in Dota 1 terms. Nevermore getting a little bit of jungle creeps. And if you guys are not playing Dota 1 or never played Dota 1, time to get some Dota 1 knowledge.
It's tough luck, guys.
Yeah.
What was Gyrocopter's name?
I don't know. Gyro's new.
Because Sniper was Cardell or something, right?
Gyro's like a new hero, so. New hero in Dota 1 term. By the way, Winter has eyes right on WTF. Could, in theory, get a kill. Although I'm not sure if you want to run into Rocket. Here we go. Arctic Bird's going to start things up. And the shield's going to break very early. WTF taking a ton of damage. Splinter Blast is going to seal the deal. Arctic Burn, Winter.
Can they go more? They're going to go more onto Extinct.
They don't have Arctic Burn.
They've got a shield.
Yeah, well, they also have a full creep wave on them, so.
Yeah, I guess the fact also Gyro respawning in 4 seconds time. TP's up to top lane. Rocket Barrage will definitely find a trade-off there, so.
They got what they want, which is...
One kill.
One kill. On the carry.
Shadowfiend resorting to going over to the medium camp and just clearing through that. He hasn't given too much away at mid lane. You know, he's got 8 last hits. A bunch of these are from jungle creeps. Tiny is free farming, but you expect this. This is the trade-off that CSW have.
Yep.
Alchek is getting experience of bot, Slark is getting farm. Shadowfiend's still farming towards the jungle, but top lane is where CSW really want to win this game. Or at least the very early laning phase.
I expected them just to do fine. I did not expect them to get 2 kills in 3 minutes. So they've definitely done very well on top. But I do want to revisit your question that you asked me earlier is, what is Slark going to do in this game? Like, his playstyle, his item choice, I don't really know. Because I don't feel like this is a good Slark game. So he has 2 choices. He could either go late game and get Midas and try to carry late, which I'm not sure if that's what you want to do against a Gyro and a Tiny. The other obvious choice is to get an early ganking item like a Blink and Shadow Blade and simply put pressure on supports. The thing is, you could only put pressure on support because I don't think you could gank a Tiny. He will have too much HP thanks to his Aghanim's build-up. And then he could combo you back if you go on him.
Yeah.
Same thing with Gyro. He's probably going to go for early BKB so he has a ton of HP. So if he goes for early ganking, it's not going to work against half the team. Half of the members of the team. So that's why I'm really confused in terms of what this Slark can do and will do.
He's a decent hero against Wisp. This is something we've seen previously against Wisp Tiny, that you go for the Slark just to try and hunt down the Wisp. Actually, up at top lane, the Gyrocopter's going in on the 2D here. He doesn't have a shield for another 5 seconds, but Stick Charges keeps him alive for now. Can miss Coil to deny himself, but should be okay. Can shield.
The balls.
The balls will hit him, but shield's up, and Lord Boon's tacking up the creep wave.
So I'm very actually surprised that Golda is leveling up Arctic Burn. It's one of those spells that you want to max ASAP. At the same time, Splinter Blast, it's just so good as a nuke.
The cooldown on Arctic Burn, though, from 50 to 20, from level 1 to 4, it's ridiculous.
Right, but to me that's a trap when you look at a spell like that, because it doesn't matter if it's a 50-second cooldown or a 20-second cooldown. You're not getting a second Arctic Burn in a single fight. So in this early game phase, you're like, okay, that's a very, very big cooldown reduction, but Splinter Blast is a spell that you could likely get off twice in a fight. So yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. Mid lane though, looks like they want to go in, but nice Impale and actually a Hex. I don't think they could get a return kill, but just let them know what's up, you know. Nevermore is getting a little bit of backup on the mid hill.
Do they want to contest top rune? It looks like they do. They're moving in here. Now there's a second point in Splinter Blast and Wedding Crash going in onto Slicks. A couple of raises if he can land them. He gets to the long range, but didn't find the medium. Wisp is now getting chased down behind his own tier 1. The reaction, though, from Invasion to send Shaitan towards middle lane. They're scouting out the pulls, or stacks even.
They could seal this. They have Shadow Fiend.
3 levels and raises.
Thanks for the stacks, man. Splinter Blast.
Easy gold.
Out a little bit here as well. Here comes Extinct. Everybody's coming in. Shaitan's going to drop a finisher. Here comes... Well, should be dropping those Winter Blast. It will hit on just about everybody on the back line. They get the line, and they force out TP, but that's a big victory for CSW because they got a big stack.
CSW sent 3 heroes in, get a triple stack. Invasion sent 5 heroes to try and contest it. They lost the stack already. They're going to kill on Lion, expending all of their time. That you know, overall, that's a couple of minutes there wasted by Invasion. You're giving Chains on bot lane, Slark, free farm. He's got Treads, he's got his Orb of Venom. Maybe goes into Ring of Aquila now. That was the regular pickup. Oh, toss full. Shaitan now with the Fisher. Godot caught a mid. Lord Boons tethers up, yes, but this is the turnaround. This is the problem. Tower hit will finish him off. Now the Tiny and Wisp, they're kind of trapped here. A little bit of slow, a little bit of baiting. Tether, no! He doesn't go far enough. The stun out from 343 will catch him.
Actually, I think the Tiny was too close. If Tiny kept walking to the right, maybe he could have got the Tether out. But yeah, CSW playing extremely well against Invasion. And despite having the big names on the team, your Slicks, your Extinct, they are just not having off a great start in this C qualifier.
And now Extinct, who maybe would have wanted to take some of these stacks himself to build up into level 6, you have to give them all to Tiny. You know, the large camp, okay, you're building that for Tiny specifically, but maybe medium camp, you want to get some XP over onto this Lina, who's now level 3. They also want level 6 up on Lord Boons. This Wisp, very level dependent.
Yeah. I mean, he's been getting a lot of the runes, some bounty runes included, and that's why he's actually keeping up decently on the support level. But yeah, I agree completely with your sentiment that Wisp needs to hit 6. Because once your Wisp gets 6, you get to play a lot differently. You get to split push more, you get to gank more. It really opens up why Tiny Wisp is so powerful as a duel.
Shaitan finds the Ember's Rune down a bot, denying it from Wedding Crash. The Slark is actually going for a drums here. So no Ring of Aquila, he's actually going for an earlier fighting build.
Completely prepare on the bottom lane. They saw the Shaker take the Invis Rune, drop the Sentry Ward, set up a perfect trap for CSW, and well, it feels like this Shadow Fiend is running away with this game, because here comes another Avatar's combo, but guess who's here already? Lion impaling right on Lord Boots. Gotta be careful, Fly taking a bit of damage. He's gonna go for a toss, should be off cooldown. Yeah, he's gonna get the toss kill. So that surprised me a little bit, because Fly got the anti-kill, and looks like he's gonna go in again. Avalanche, gonna get the toss, and everyone's essentially feeding one by one. He should be fine, because Wisp is on the low ground, giving him that overcharge.
So 2D TP's in, doesn't get too much done. Phase Boots Abaddon, 800 gold for him. And we are seeing the mech build up from the Shadow Fiend, so they want to try and get that mech up as quickly as they can for him. Chains, going for the early fighting build with the drums, so they definitely want to apply some pressure relatively early. Abaddon though, what are we expecting? S and Y after Phase Boots, is he going to go for the race car Abaddon?
I'm not sure, that's a big question mark for me. One option is going for utility items like Medallion, Glimmer, that kind of build where you don't really focus on anything but utility.
Vlad's.
Yeah, Vlad's. Yeah, exactly, stuff like that.
He's going for Vlad's, definitely. More,
okay.
Well, I say definitely now.
It could be Mask of Madness.
Yes.
That's the other direction where you just kind of right-click. The thing is, if you go for a full-on right-click build, you gotta be worried about Craggy, right? You don't go on full-on right-click build just to get stunned by Craggy. So, I'm confused.
So the fact that Invasion, they've had their jungle shut down quite a bit. Tiny, his Aghanim's timing is going to be decent here. 1-0 and 2, he's got 1700 gold, could rush it straight up, but a lot of the time we're seeing Blink as the initial primary item from Tiny to get the killing potential out there as early as you possibly can. When you've got Lina and Wisp along with an Earthshaker, you've got long range initiation, sure, but you want the follow through, and a Blink dagger on Tiny could give it to you. The fact that he's saving up this much gold kinda pushes me towards the Blink on Tiny as his first pickup.
Yeah, he might end up getting the Blink Dagger, but I'm not so that this is the best choice, at least in this game. Because if you look at the defensive power of CSW, you blink in and there's a Photic Shield helping people. You blink in against a Slark that can pounce or Shadow Dance. You can blinking in against the possibility of Co-Embrace helping an ally. Yes, it's going to get you a couple more kills, but I'm not sure if it's going to be the best item.
Will there be time there? Because if you blink in Avatars onto, let's say, if you catch the Winter Wyvern or Lion in particular, I think you just insta-kill them.
Okay, that's a fair point.
But I agree, with the Mech Shadow Fiend, the Slark, and then if the Abaddon is anywhere nearby...
It's more risky, I think.
Yeah. Whereas you could get the guaranteed Aghanim Scepter and, you know, just sort of plow your way through Ancients and Jungle and keep things going that way.
Yeah. I mean, getting an early Axe, to me on Tiny, also feels like getting a Midas of sorts. Because Axe in this case, or Midas might be like a bad comparison, but like a Battle Fury. Because you farm with that Axe. And not only do you farm with that Axe, imagine a Battle Fury that also gave you like 400 HP. Will you buy that item? It seems insanely good, right?
And then a Quelling Blade in the Battle Fury that works against buildings.
Yes. That's what Aghanim is for Tiny.
It's pretty ridiculous.
So that's why, yeah, Blink it's good, but sometimes just raw farming power is better.
Group up of 5 here, as Invasion, you know, they're all in their jungle. WTF gonna get caught. Hex to start things off. Arctic Burn is already there. Spike and Finger of Death. Simple pick off. Invasion do still have the high ground as Tiny Whisper making their way over. Time to back up. Fisher to block them off. This, it leaves their jungle so vulnerable. You just take a look at that one Radiant Observer watching the large camp. They know exactly what Invasion are doing.
And second time in the game, the stack is stolen. Well, not stacked, but the camp's stolen.
Yep.
So...
Chains, 1200 gold, drums, treads. He's left his lane and he was moving over to the rune spot, but 4 people moving down there. Shaitan to start things off with a Fisher. No Soul Ring on him, so it's Arcane Boots, and there's the Tiny's Blink.
Right,
on its way on the courier. They have to make it work right now. Like, he's bought the Blink, they have to go and find like at least 1 kill.
But there's a casual close embrace. He's actually lost more HP than he gained, but you know, fine, I guess. And it's gonna be a Vlad's for 2D because it's coming on the courier.
Okay. Here's the tier 1 push. So mech timing, push into towers, pretty well timed.
Actually, what they need to do with this Blink Dagger is tossbacks. Because
into the gyro.
Into anybody, like away from the enemy team. Because if you allow them to shield and whatever else, then you basically waste all your damage on a guy that gets healed up. However, if you toss them away from the team, then the teammates, then obviously CSW cannot help.
Yeah, so if you catch the Shadow Fiend and toss him into your team, the mech then becomes infinitely more sort of useless.
Ineffective, yeah.
Ineffective, that's the word I was looking for, thank you. Because Shadow Fiend is forced to pop it on himself.
Yep.
So the rest of the team then is kind of left there high and dry. If the follow through with cooldown, a good Fissure from Black Chitan, you know, could turn one kill from the Tiny into maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, and that's a big difference. CSW actually has very weak range. Like, what's their best range spell? Like Arctic Burn? That's terrible.
Who's their big initiator?
Blink Hex is eventually what they will have.
Yeah, so it kind of feels like their team right now wants to bait Invasion into initiating on them.
I think Chains is going to be the initiator. Your Slark pouncing in, right?
Yeah.
And forcing them to the fight. That's kind of like a very gentleman way of initiating. Like, when I say that, I mean, like, you know, a smooth initiation is the Blink Hex, you know? Everything's clean.
But
You
then
get a key stun.
Slark slithering around, looking
And
for
that's
the
like
wisp.
like a brute force. Being a gentleman, you know? Here we go. Looks like, well, Blink Avatar's gonna come and go. That barely dies.
That's a
and now
DD.
Slicks, though, being trapped in by his ally's Fissure. They traded 1 for 1.
That's a DD on Shadow Fiend, ripping the Tiny apart. So they get the kill on Winter Wyvern, but by no means was that worth it at all. And now maybe the follow-through from CSW, pushing into this tier 1. The tether over onto Black Chitan, give him a little bit of mana back with the sort of double Arcane Boots play there. WTF, this Gyrocopter, 0 turn 1. Fair enough, he's got decent last hits, but he's behind the Abaddon in terms of net worth. Fissure catches 2. Still no cooldown though, as Tootie just stands his ground and takes the damage.
It's also very interesting the way that CSW is choosing to take this fight, because it's been like, what, 2 to 3 minutes out that CSW is camping this mid tower. They see it as this tower is being very important to remove, and they also decide to group up as 5.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the right way to play this particular game, though? Because you have done a very good job shutting down the Gyro, you have killed the Tiny One, so you know that their late game carry potential just got diminished. Is it better to keep pushing this mid tower, or is it better to go farm yourself?
I think right now it's better to go farm and secure the Slark's items because, like you said, for the past 5 minutes, they've been grouping as 4. They've gone into the jungle, they've limited Tiny and Gyrocopter, they've forced 5 from Invasion towards this mid lane, and really Invasion haven't made anything out of it. So CSW already have their big item on the Shadow Fiend, which is the mech. He can build into BKB. He is the one farming mid. 2D, he's got his Vlads. He would like to continue progressing in terms of items. I think the big one is Slark. A slight mistake maybe there to join the pressure and actually group up as 5 rather than just having the plain 4. Maybe they're a little bit worried that if he doesn't TP in time to the tier 1 that they lose a couple of heroes and he can't turn things back around.
Yeah.
But his next item is so important, and the way he's going, Blink.
Yeah. I mean, and like you said, what's the initiator? What's the initiation for CSW, right? It seems like they need a Blink for that initiation. Looks like they're massively pinging out on the bottom lane. Fly, trying to get a little bit of farm as the Slark is jungling. Could be the relocate gank that they're looking for.
Gyro wants to go and kill this lion, but the call out looks like from Extinct saying, no, we have to defend tier 1. And this is the kind of ploy that CSW have played here. They've pressured tier 1 so much in mid, you know, they dropped it relatively low. The natural thought from Invasion is, well, they're going to come and finish it sooner or later, right? But no, the bait is set. Lion is on his bot lane alone, forcing the movement to come in, and maybe now CSW, with 3 at top, will try and get this incursion into the jungle again.
But look at what the map is going on right now. You have a line that's farming, and you have a Gyro that's trying to gank.
Yeah.
Like, this reversal of role only favors CSW. Because, you know, this Lark is farming, doing stuff, this line's farming, and Gyro is not. And Gyro needs to farm. Boy, he is so underfarmed.
And now there's no one farming top lane, no one farming jungle for Invasion.
It's so obvious of a gank, right? So CSW knows.
And Chains has his Blink Dagger.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Slicks
attack.
at mid lane, he's going to get wrapped around on. There is the relocate save available for Lord Boons, and just watch his positioning right now. He's ready and wait, just in case. Oh yeah, that's true. Slicks blinks back, and he's not going to get caught just yet. The tier 1 will get focused down. Fissure lands onto 2 as Godon 2D are both caught. Slicks, what's your play here? 2 seconds until Blink is off cooldown. Could look to jump in a second.
Yeah, Blink tossback will not work though against Abaddon because of his ultimate. Looks like they will lose this T1 tower without too much of a fight. And finally CSW get this mid. And I believe getting the mid tower down as the Slark gets his ganking item is absolutely huge. By removing all the T1 towers, put so much pressure on Invasion's jungle. You cannot allow Slark to willy-nilly walk into jungle. Not only is he going to get kills, not only is he going to scout out your stacks, just knowing where the wards is on your half of the map is so brutal to play against.
So even though they have managed to shut down the Gyrocopter almost completely, and they've limited Tiny's Aghanim's timing, what are we looking at right now? He's still 1,800 gold away, so it's going to be around 21 minutes, something along those lines, depending on what stacks he can get. Shaitan, the Earthshaker. I'm looking at him right now. After this jungle camp, he's got Blink.
I wonder if that Blink's going to do too much. They have a lot of great spread damage, but I feel like Invasion needs a lot of single point damage as well. There's just so much heal in CSW. Co-Embrace, Mech, Abaddon. They have so much tanky power as well. Between Vlad's and Mech activation, you're looking at what? 7, 8, 9 armor for the whole team?
A hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Top lane 2D, maybe looking towards his second item, Ogre Club he's got in his inventory. BKB? Do you reckon that's what he goes for, or the SNY that we mentioned?
Either is fine, but I think
Ooh.
the fact that you're up against Craggy, I would like BKB more.
Do you like Halberd here?
Oh, dude, that would shut down Tiny so hard. That's actually the best choice. By far. Not even close.
Because you mentioned earlier Medallion to Solar Crest. I really like that as an alternative to Halberd in this patch, but I think here especially forcing, well, not even forcing Tiny to go BKB because it goes through it, but yeah, great against Tiny.
Yeah. Well, it's more like, yeah, you could get Aghanims and you could right-click, but you're not right-clicking because I disarm.
And then Slark, you know, benefits from that minus armor.
Yeah, because in this particular lineup, he is not required to do damage. His teammate has damage in spades. He just needs to be annoying.
Oh, Wedding Crash. Just walks into the Wisp Tiny. They're going to try and bail here, get him up onto the high ground, tether across, get himself out, and he will be fine.
For what it's worth, I feel Invasion has played rather well for the past 5 minutes. They have not lost too many heroes. This Slark, despite having Dagger for now 3-4 minutes, have not found anybody with it. But what we're not seeing for Invasion is farm. Because when you're playing defensive, you're not farming.
They've stemmed the flow, and Net Worth Graph kind of shows that. You know, those a relatively good spike for SW where they got up to 5k. It's plateaued a little bit now, evened out, where Invasion have held their own. They're not losing any more towers. They lost the tier 1 top and mid, but bot tier 1, they've just taken one of their own. They're not losing this bot tier 1, which is, you know, relatively unimportant. It doesn't give you too much. Oh no, they know. Oh, Lord Boons, does he know where he is? When Crash gets caught out, he's got no blink. He does have a BKB Requiem. But Invasion are scared here. They're going to TP themselves away. They don't want the reaction to come in from CSW.
Which is fine, I guess, because I think they care more about farming. Chain's going to force a TP on its own, so pretty much essentially just TPing out as Invasion. What I get the feeling just watching this game is if I'm playing in Invasion's shoes, I feel completely boxed in. I can't really farm anywhere. My ganks are not really running that well. I wonder why Shaitan isn't the one that's leading the gank though. He's kind of farming in the mid lane, and honestly he doesn't need farm because he's got Blink already.
For Invasion, I'm pretty sure there are at least 3 players here just, okay, wait for this, wait for that. Wait for my BKB on Gyrocopter, wait for my Aghanims on Tiny. Wait for Lina to, okay, she's level 8 now. Not really progressing too quickly towards any items, but what else are we actually looking for? Tiny, the Wisp, not really going too far into anything else. Has a Quelling Blade. Yeah,
I think what you said just now, as we're going to see a little bit of initiation, Slark jumping back in against just the
2-man Earthquake,
but 3-man Echo to break things up. Here comes a huge Requiem though. Now Slick in the Roshan pit. Avatar's coming in, Change dropping low. He will leap out though. Slick is going to go down as a result thanks to that BKB Shadow Fiend. That's a big fight victory for Invasion. You asked what the initiation was. It's a Slark jumping in.
And then Roshan straight afterwards. Not only is it a big fight where they kill Tiny and Wisp, you know, Gyrocopter cooldown was good, but they need to wait. But they can't go into the river like this when they don't know where CSW are. The BKB from Gyro there, you know, maybe gets him into the midst of things. Lina, not in a position to use Laguna Blade. There was no one she could nuke down single target. And Tiny Wisp left pretty immobile in the midst.
Yeah, to me, it was the 2-man Impale from Fly.
Yeah.
Or 3-4-3. Just really set things up. And like you said now, it feels Tiny needs like 3 items. He needs the Aghanims, he needs a BKB just to survive. And then he needs to, a damage item start dealing damage. So
Do you still got BKB? Like Aghanim's Yasha, and then BKB? You want attack speed first, I feel. So either Hyperstun or Yasha before the BKB, because CSW, Hex and Stun from Lion, okay, it's scary, but if you're left with a Tiny that doesn't have the attack speed to actually pump out the damage, you're still pretty lackluster in these team fights.
I think it depends. Let's say your teammates have 2 Force staffs, then I think you could skip the BKB, because if you get Force, if you get Hex, your allies could at least bail you out.
Or a Glimmer Cape on Lina, which she's building into.
Like anything of that defensive nature. The problem is they don't have it yet. And when your teammates can't help you, you kind of have to help yourself. So maybe with a Glimmer, then he goes a little bit more offensively. But I think that's still really far away. Like right now, you get your Aghanims.
Tiny has a haste and an invis rune, but he's going to go farm with it. Slicks, you can find a kill here somewhere. Maybe not on the abandoned mid. He's going to tank through everything you throw at him. And actually, CSW, every single one of their heroes is hiding in the fog. They don't know where anyone is. Godot, speaking of Glimmer Capes, has one of his own on his Winter Wyvern. Giving Slock that magic resist is going to be of utmost importance against Avalanche and Toss. We saw in the Roche pit how devastated the Slock got by that Avatos combo. He had to pounce up onto high ground and heal himself back up.
Yeah.
He can't stand and fight up against Tiny.
I'm actually just looking at how this winter game is. I'm wondering why this hero is constantly banned. Here comes the initiation against Slick. Slick's trapped in there, hexed up. Oh.
Relocate save incoming. Tiny, yeah, there they go.
Oh, they're looking for a little bit more. Arctic Burn still happening, and the ultimate is going to go stun on Extinct. They will get pretty much a free kill. The question is, are they going to relocate back? And I honestly don't think so. It's just a Wisp. Oh, hold that thought. He jumped to the north, gets immediately impaled. 2 kills, and I believe tier 2 is going to be under siege.
Shaitan is still at the spot lane farming. Blink Dagger, cloak up on him, so Glimmer Cape again going to be the item from Invasion, while WTF on this Gyrocopter, you know, he picked up his BKB a couple of minutes ago. 10 seconds duration is still there. What is his damage output like, though? With level 4 Flat Cannon Rocket Barrage, he needs to get in onto a target, but when you're getting kited around or Tiny and Wisp be your first port of call for CSW, Gyrocopter needs to be there with them.
Yeah, I don't think Gyro actually does anything right now. He is essentially nullified by the mech. I don't think he actually outdeals the damage that mech provides to the team. So Gyro is essentially useless. Earthshaker, despite having the items he needs, have not really found the ganks. And this Tiny Wisp has not done anything apart from farming. Like, I really think the Blink was a mistake in this game. And so far we haven't seen it done anything either, right? I mean,
no.
I think it saved him from that one gank as he blinked away.
I don't think it's found one kill, but
yeah,
he's not found those tossbacks you mentioned. I thought that was a really cunning ploy if he could have pulled that off.
Yeah, so I just don't think perhaps there was a gambit.
Oh, Gyro really forced the BKB here, turns to fight the line. 3-4-3 bells with a haste rune, and that is massive. 10-second BKB done and gone as now bot lane chains. Looking for Lord Boons, lands the pounce. He's got relocate, but he can't escape from this.
Yep. So that's... I just feel that CSW is just outplaying Invasion, or Invasion are making a lot of mistakes. Either way, same side of the... two different sides of the same coin, in my opinion.
Yeah. And now Slock with the BKB can kind of go into these fights with impunity, not afraid anymore of the big AoE splash damage coming out of Slicks, the Gyrocopter, or the Lina.
Yeah, so to me, the only way Invasion wins this game is they hold their high ground for at least the next 20 to 30 minutes. They have to hold for a long time.
They definitely do. They need both. They need 3 heroes here, especially Tiny, Gyrocopter, and Lina to get big items. They need Ags on Lina without a shadow of a doubt. So I'm not sure if she starts building into it now and skips over Glimmer. I don't think Yules is going to be the go-to option here. Yules, it's getting a little bit late, and you know you need to start planning for that late game power.
Yeah.
Gyrocopter, you just need damage straight up. Maybe a Helm as a stopgap item now, but damage has got to be on your mind.
I mean, it sounds ridiculously dumb, but I might just get Midas now.
As who? Gyro?
Anybody.
On Invasion.
Yeah, because it's not about... Oh, hold that thought.
Last TP's the top. Slicks is caught. There's a stun through. Okay.
Yeah, so Wisp's gonna die, which is... For 3-4 TPs, that's fine. It sounds ridiculously dumb. It doesn't matter if you lose by getting completely overrun in the next 5 minutes, or if you lose, what, 15 minutes later. the loss is always a loss, right? It's the same L. If you always lose if you just try to farm a normal game.
Just because of the space they have, right?
Yeah, the only way you win is if you last for a long time. And if you last for a long time, the item that gives you the most gold is things like Midas or Mask of Manus, for example, that lets you farm faster. Does that is my logic making any sense?
I feel like things like Mask of Manus would be better, especially for Tiny. We've seen this in desperate situations. Just get the attack speed, build it up as quickly as you can. I'm not sure.
So not exactly Midas, but farming items. So for example, Yasha for Gyro.
I think the biggest thing is here high impact items. Whether it's high impact farming or fighting items, you just want to be as efficient gold-wise as you can. So Midas is still there as an option, because you have such limited room to breathe, which I definitely agree with. You can't go and clear camps in the jungle because you're so threatened by the movement from CSW. Even pushing out lanes, Tiny. Look at him now. He's what 2,000 range away from his tier 3 at top. He's still got Wisp behind him. Still very afraid of where he's standing.
Although the Blink Dagger now actually pays dividend, not as an offensive item, but as a defensive one. It allows you to split push very well.
Gyrocopter mid, hiding in the trees, can't even push up to this wave. Dire Vision, how are we actually looking? One observer deep into that Radiant jungle. Apart from that, they're blind outside of creep waves.
Yeah. I mean, Invasion for the next, again, 30 minutes as they try to hold their high ground, they're going to be playing with deep fear. And this is also why, like, since we have a lot of time to talk about the draft, or the game is really slowed down, I want to talk about the reasons why you don't want to pick Wisp Tiny first. Look at how many heroes that just straight up counter Tiny in this particular game. Requiem was so giving you what was it, 50 damage reduction? 50% base damage reduction? Tiny's all base damage. When Shadow Fiend ults, he loses about 120 damage. Just from an ult alone. Like, God.
And then Tiny is a hero that is very susceptible to being kited.
Yeah.
So the slow coming from Requiem, great as well.
That's a huge counter. Winter's Embrace, or sorry, whatever Winter Wyvern's ultimate is, looks like Slick is just going for the tower, and then he'll just TP out or relocate out. Nice blink. Did he just get Craggy? 2D? I think 2D just got Craggy.
Oh, Craggy, what an ability.
Yeah, so Shadow Fiend's the first counter. Second is
Winter Wyvern?
Winter Wyvern with his ultimate, right? If you Winter's Curse with Tiny next to him, like Tiny's just gonna kill his teammate because of his damage output. So I feel like, again, back to what I said in the drafting phase, I think Wisp is what makes Tiny Wisp strong. You could replace Tiny with a different type of carry. Like, for example, Chaos Knight used to be the dream combo, right? The Tiny, or the Wisp Chaos Knight combo used to do a lot as a ganking duel. We don't see it as much. Ursa, Tiny, I keep saying Tiny when I meant when I'm Wisp, yeah.
And then Wisp Bristleback?
Yeah, Wisp Bristleback, Wisp Ricky.
I think it's because when you think of the Tiny Wisp combo, you say Tiny Wisp.
Yeah.
But when you think of other combos, you think Wisp CK, Wisp Bristleback, and you reverse it.
You honestly should say Wisp Tiny combo, because it's really the Wisp. But
Wisp is that combo hero.
Mean, look, Lord Bruins has saved Tiny's life like 3 times this game. In 0 and 5. Sad days. Alright, if Slicks could pick a kill here against Slark.
It's difficult, man. It's difficult. And now you've got CSW.
Are they tired? Oh, he wants to fight.
Chains has gone in. Slicks is pounced up as Chains looking for the fight, but relocate back. That is the...
They're so scared. They see Chains by himself, and they're like, oh, I gotta go.
Who's behind him? Who's coming in from the side? Now they've got vision. They realize, hang on a second, they've just arrived. CSW now, late to the party. They go in onto the Wisp, and it's going to be a simple kill.
Yeah, they're essentially bleeding kills.
Late Roshan respawn, another 2 minutes or so until he's back up.
But it's not like Invasion's constantly trapped in their base, which, if you asked me 5 minutes ago in terms of how I see this game gonna go, I thought Invasion was trapped in the base where they can't farm anywhere. They're farming their jungle, they're pushing out the lane, so I feel like Invasion actually have a very decent chance of elongating this game and maybe winning it late. Even though it looks absolutely terrible right now with a 14,000 goal difference.
It's pretty big. Experience as well, 14k. Blink over on the Winter Wyvern, well pointed out. What are we seeing from the Shadow Fiend though? Is that Skadi all done and dusted? 33 minutes in. Skadi, BKB, Blink, and Mech on his SF. Abaddon picks up a gem along with his S&Y with Basher. So 2D has gone for that sort of race car build on the Abaddon. Along with the Basher, counteracting the Craggy or, sort of throwing it back in his face.
Yeah, I mean, Skadi on Shadow Fiend is another reason how SF counters Tiny. Well, not counters, but, you know, very good against.
Curse of the Avernus, the attack speed, movement speed slow from Skadi, and that. So many things here. It seems CSW have this strat already prepared for Wisp Tiny.
Yeah. I mean, I think a big part of why they're doing so well is still that early game pressure they were able to put. This offlane Earthshaker, it cannot do anything against Slark in lane. The Winter River and Abaddon dueling got way more kills than they should have. So everything that could go wrong for Invasion went wrong. And to me, CSW right now is coasting. They could farm anywhere. I think they could put a little bit more pressure. It looks like we're going to see a relocate up top here. Blink initiation. They got a kill. That's a clean kill.
Yeah, Blink Echo, Laguna Blade not even expended there. As the chase is on, Wedding Crash leading the charge. Roshan is alive, but it's kind of risky as CSW to wander yourself into that pit. Maybe now you know Echo Slam is on cooldown. Slark would be like, would like to be alive here to pick up Aegis Immortal. Shadow Fiend is so tanky right now. I'm not sure he is the best person to be holding on to it.
Does the Invasion want to fight? That's a question. Because the Invasion could actually force something by going into the Roshan pit themselves. They got 36 seconds before Slark respawns, but looks like that it's not going to be the play because Tiny's out of mana.
AC isn't done for Tiny, so he didn't go for the Astra. AC, no BKB. MKB now is done for that Gyrocopter, so here's the damage output.
Yeah.
It's building up slowly but surely. Invasion are actually securing themselves some pretty good-looking team fights in the upcoming, maybe not 5 minutes, but 10, 15.
Yeah, so regardless if CSW win or lose this game, do you feel like the past 10 minutes has been well played by CSW?
I think this, like you pointed out, the Slark buying Blink Dagger, not making an impact, is the crux of this, right? He went Blink BKB and hasn't gone looking for the solo pickoffs because there haven't been any supports left alone in the jungle from Invasion. They have played very passively and kind of scared, but what is the high ground pushing potential here from CSW this early
They don't have any.
Exactly.
I mean, I think ultra late game, you have a Shadow Fiend that could tank the T3 while hitting them. You have the, I mean, I guess that's it, right? You have a Shadow Fiend that hits your tower. You back him up with things like Shield, maybe a Solar Crest. But that's pretty much it. And when you're solo pushing, like when you're walking up a high ground on Shadow Fiend and you try to solo hit the tower, that's really susceptible to Blink Tossback.
Do you give it to the SF?
So maybe that's exactly what they're waiting for. Because CSW, to me, they've been playing extremely passively. And more passively, like, you have a 14,000, 15,000 goal lead. There's no reason why you should be playing passively.
Yeah, I agree. Send up Shadow Fiend to the high ground, just wail away at that tier 3 tower, force Invasion to, sink a bit of damage, a few cooldowns into that Shadow Fiend, and then follow through. Because you, again, still have a Photic Shield, you've got Cold Embrace and things like this to save Shadow Fiend, so he's very unlikely to die second time. Maybe they pop Aegis Immortal, he dies once, but the follow-through is very rarely going to be there to kill him twice.
Yep.
Abaddon, next item, Abyssal Blade, you reckon? Just finish off that basher?
Yeah, sure, why not? Abyssal giving the stun necessary. Honestly, right now, Invasion has so much to worry about. Even though they're still in the game, they're farming well. CSW is farming better because they have more of the map to farm. But still not really pressing the issue though. Just checking out some wards.
They're just not finding anyone. I think that's the thing. Invasion have done a good job at dodging things.
They're not finding anyone because they're not in front of the T3. If CSW goes to T3, I'm sure they will find somebody, right?
Well, then they'll find the entire 5 of Invasion
exactly.
sort of waiting on high ground.
I guess the logic is CSW doesn't think they could win a 5v5 at the Tier 3, which could be a fair point. I mean, maybe they can't. That's where Echo Slam gets better. That's where Cooldown gets better. That's where Tiny Tossback gets even scarier.
So they'd love a pick off here with the Hex onto Slicks, a bot lane or top lane, even 2D now going in. The Wisp is being caught maybe by a 3-4-3. He doesn't find him. Was looking for the Earth Spike. He knew Wisp was somewhere in the back. Tried to hunt him down.
I mean, it's hard to ask for more, but Wisp should relocate him bottom.
To push the tier 2.
Yeah, but looks like they're going to get the tier 2 regardless. Although, never mind, because here comes Chain. Scotty, BKB has to activate, but I don't think he'll make it home. Fissure is good. He needs to TP out, but in fact, they want to fight this huge Echo Slam. They get the Slark. Winter's Embrace. Shatan's actually not right-clicking for too much. Shatan, however, will go down to Shadow Fiend as a result. I'm going to say if Tiny was here, fight would have been different.
That would have been crushing.
Yeah.
They do find, you know, the tier 1 towards the middle lane. Another little bit of gold going their way. This is invasion. They're getting a lot out of this. Because, you know, you mentioned CSW are this far ahead. Losing a Slark in that situation when he's trying to build into Skadi and he's just not progressing at all. He's been sitting on the same items for the past 6 or 7 minutes. Ultimate Orb of Venom.
I'm also not sure if Skadi is ultimately the right choice. Well, I'm just not sure Slark is the right choice in this game.
Yeah, you did have some questions about Slark earlier on, and we're definitely seeing the weaknesses of him. Though CSW are now pushing up to high ground. Slicks, TP's in. Get the shield down to Wedding Crash and the buyback. Yeah, from the Earthshaker. They're going to try and go in onto Slicks. They've got the gem still up on 2D. They see him, but Shadar now blinks in. Fisher into Enchant Totem. Wedding Crash. Aegis Immortal still at the ready for another couple of minutes. Turns to fight. Glimmer Cape onto that Tiny. Does actually blink forward and finds the SF, but shield, heal. Now 2D, his ultimate's about to pop. No, it's on cooldown still. Wedding Crash is caught still, manning up and fighting, but he's going to lose his life here. The first one at the very least. Throws out a couple of races just before he dies. Is the plan to continue fighting though for invasion? Nope. Time to back up. They got what they wanted, they held. They made sure they only lost the Wisp, and they got a couple of big kills there.
Yeah, the more important thing to me is that they basically get about a 50-second respite till the Abaddon comes alive. And that's about 2 more minutes of free farming for invasion. And Relocate is back up as well. Though I don't think this Wisp will ever use Relocate offensively. Yeah, not until maybe some later situation. There is a possibility of them using to backdoor a T2 tower, because Tiny at this point with AC can start doing that. The biggest question for me is, what do you think Tiny's next item is? Are we looking at some sort of crit for even bigger damage output? Or are we looking to have a Yasha or a BKB?
I think you could even consider going Butterfly here. It's usually like a 6th item for Tiny, but attack speed...
Oh, actually it's so good here.
Yeah. I think that could work, especially with the changes to Hex now, right?
Yeah.
You don't get break on items.
You know, honestly, I look over to Extinct and I see him getting Yules. I think it should be a Solar Crest.
On Lina.
Yeah.
See, I was looking and thinking, well, you've got to go Aghanims as quickly as possible. I thought Yules would be a dead item in some regards. But it's still a setup stun.
The thing is, you could stun somebody, but I don't think if CSW cares. They have so much shield, they have so much debuff.
It's only really useful for chasing.
Yeah.
You're not going to be setting up to sort of walk into a team fight saying, well, here we go. Maybe you use up, you know, the SF or something like that to get the cooldown, allow Tiny to get into position, but a lot of the times it's going to be Yules up into Light Strike Array when you're chasing people down.
By the way, there's a Satanic on Shadowfiend now. I mean, they had a ton of trouble killing him, and now they will have even more. We're looking at 25 armor, almost 3,000 health.
It's got to the stage now, though, where Gyrocopter and Tiny are catching up to the SF. We did have 3 heroes from CSW in the top 4 in terms of net worth. Now, the Abaddon and Slark, they're dropping. They're not actually keeping up pace with the Gyrocopter and Tiny. 3-4-3 with a gem. Looking out for sentries, for observers. And Shadowfiend, you're going to have to come over and clear things through. And then at what point do you think, okay, Shadowfiend, it's time to buy a new item? Because mech, you know, it's still very important to hold on to when you're pushing high ground. If they had a lane of racks down here, you think, okay, well, time to get into Butterfly and MKB, some kind of life. Well, he's got Satanic, but maybe a crit.
Yeah.
You still need this mech at 42 minutes in.
Yeah, maybe the next item is probably just... Well,
Butter?
You know what? I've never realized he actually picked up Blink. What has the Blink Dagger done for the Shadowfiend, really?
Farm efficiency increased, blinking from camp to camp.
I guess.
Onto rune spots.
That's literally worse than Midas, though, if you're buying it for farm efficiency. I mean, I don't think he never really needed it, because his line has been complete on top of initiation.
And he's always had people behind him to save him, so it's not been defensive. Maybe it's allowed him to get into position for a couple of raises, but yeah,
Yeah, for the most part, I feel like if you need to replace a slot, that's the first one to go. Although, I'm sure when he bought the Blink Dagger, he still stands by his decision of, hey, this is a good item. So maybe that's not the first item he'll sell. We'll see.
Innovation with the split pushing game. Tiny at bottom lane, Wisp still behind him. Same old strat, nothing changes there. Slark finally finished off his Skadi as he moves up to top. 5 men from CSW. pushing out this top wave, but you gotta say, Invasion, they're farming 2 lanes at once and have been doing so for the past 10 minutes or so. They're definitely eking out every little efficient play they can. Extinct looked pretty down in the dumps, but he's got his Yule Scepter done. He's got Glimmer Cape. Gyrocopter, not too far away from that Butterfly. The big question is buyback status, because if CSW win a fight outside their base, they've got...
Oh, that's a game. If they win one more fight, that's the game. I mean, the gold graph is, what, 15,000 still?
Yeah,
and
it has completely flat, like for the past 50 minutes, it's just been 15,000.
So, to me, if they could break racks, maybe they don't win the game right off that one push, but I think the momentum will allow them to win the next fight and the fight after.
Dire's middle tower
So,
is under attack.
But if... I don't know. Slicks right now is getting too fat. He's going to go for Daedalus. I do appreciate the fact that Invasion right now, they are buying every item without saving for buyback. If you look at Invasion, they generally have just no buyback left. I mean, Gyrocopter has his, and Tiny has his. But Tiny's about to finish Daedalus.
Yeah.
So,
and Gyro's about to finish Butterfly.
Exactly. I think this is a correct way to play when you're in this situation. Again, it doesn't matter if you barely lose the next fight because you have buyback, or if you lose it spectacularly if you don't have buyback. If you lose the fight, you just lose the game.
You just buy items that are going to maybe win you the fight.
Yes, just go all in. And because they've been playing fairly aggressively, they've been farming well, they've not been getting caught. I think for the past, I want to say 10, 15 minutes, apart from the fight that they had in the mid lane, the only person that actually died is the Wisp, right?
Yeah.
He's dying because he's saving his allies.
And he's always sort of relocating back into the middle of 3 or 4 people. Roshan has respawned, and there's a smoke from CSW. Are they going to walk themselves in there, or are they going to go for the big play and find a team fight up at top? Because, oh, call down. That's pretty sneaky. WTF looking for people hiding across in the trees. There's a Radiant Observer over on the far west side of the map, like a Tinkle Ward, looking for the Wisp.
Yeah. That's kind of a big investment, though. If you're CSW and you know cooldowns used, oh, this is going to be the biggest wraparound of all time.
Oh, man. Wraparound of all wraparounds. Dire Observer Ward, when does the smoke expire? Now they see them. They know exactly where they are, so Invasion, they can prep. Time to bail the hell out of here. TP, everybody. Get in here.
You know,
Slicks doesn't have a slot.
Extinct's like, yeah, okay, I know you're kind of in my jungle. I'm going to just push a T2 a little bit. Probably will get it. Here comes the TP and could, yeah, Glimmer. Oh, he thinks he's safe in the tree, so this ward, can he make it home? He will. Everybody making it home. It's a rainbow of TP. Bottom lane now being pushed out by WTF.
Investment of time from CSW. Massive. Gain close to 0.
Yep.
They could have easily gone into the Roche pit. Taking down that Roshan. Now, Daedalus, how are we doing? The recipe we saw is still dropped over in the fountain or something like that. And he's still keeping for buyback. Gyrocopter, have you gone for the big play with the Butterfly? No, not quite yet. And Roshan finally attempted here by CSW. Getting into the pit.
The interesting question I was going to ask you is whether Invasion should defend. It looks like they don't.
The Roche pit?
Yeah. I feel like they're getting towards a stage where they maybe could have taken that fight. What do you think?
It's... I think the reward here, obviously, is they stop Shadow Fiend from getting Aegis Immortal and pushing up on the high ground.
And perhaps getting one themselves.
Oh, did they give it to Slark? Slark gets it. Okay. Oh, it's Aegis and Cheese. If that was a regular Roshan, I'd say it's probably not worth it for Invasion actually going up there. But because that has Cheese now for Abaddon... Ooh, Shadow Fiend doesn't get anything out of this.
Yeah, Shadow Fiend's full. I think he should have dropped Blink for it, but... Yeah, I see your point, you know. I don't think you could give that one away.
Because now this gives CSW the chance to walk up on the high ground like they've been trying to do for the past 20 minutes and maybe break. The trade-off though, Slicks at top lane. They're pushing up with a Tiny.
Just a barely second late, and
that's a
bad clip.
They're losing their ranks. Slicks on the Tiny, trying to go for the top though. They'll lose their melee ranks before they take the tier 3. There's the glyph for the Radiant as well. So melee ranks at mid, gone down for Invasion. Now they're going to try and TP back to stop this. Slicks is ready. Slicks turns to fight Godot up at top. He gets down then. Embrace though. Slicks is caught. Relocate back will save him. Meanwhile over in the Dire jungle though, 2D caught. Chased down by 4 heroes. Turns to fight Lord Boons. 5 seconds till he relocates back, but he's still going to get taken out as Requiem of Souls rips
Panic.
apart one. Slick's dead by the Figure of Death, and Shaitan. The Sky slow, the cooldown now from WTF, but it's not going to do enough as Chain's just clearing up with the DD rune. 3 are dead, 2 have buyback, and this is going to be range drags mid, maybe. Let's hear 3 over on the side.
That was just a huge disaster. They all went on the Shadow Fiend, but they didn't have enough damage. At least they did not have Daedalus. They didn't. They did not have Butterfly. They didn't. And now they buy back. And this is what we see. Like, yes, you don't lose a game because you're buying back, but you lose a game because you don't have items.
Oh, now WTF getting slowed down by the Scotty. It's a decent vision to stop 2D aggressing, but Tiny buys back. He's got his blink still, but he's got to go all in and buy now. Chains, oh, Slicks, he's up in the air. Chains up on the speaker beat, running through with the dog pack, chasing Shaitan. Will get the Earthshaker. 2D is just going ham onto the Wisp. The blink forward after the kill. Chains finds one, finds two, and now maybe Slicks is going to get dropped here. Losing HP. Chains stacking up the shift. And Tiny buy back into death.
That's GG.
One.
Where's the Butterfly? Where's the Daedalus?
Well, you take a look at their actual gold. They had enough
They had it, yeah.
to buy Daedalus and buyback, Butterfly and buyback. They ended up with enough gold at the end to have the items and have buyback available. So I'm not too sure why they didn't buy it. It's just heat of the moment kind of thing, thinking,
Yeah.
okay, we've got to do this, 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 you know, following through the flowchart, thinking A to Z, what do we have to do? And they just didn't have time to fit in sending courier to the secret shop.
Honestly, for the fact that they've been down for 15k gold,